Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Stream of Chaos. My name is James, and I am the Game Master for today's session of RuneQuest, role-playing in Glorantha. This is our fourth session of our playthrough of the RuneQuest starter set, and I am joined by this fantastic cast to dive into some adventures in Dragon Pass. Let's introduce the cast as we always do. London, can I start with you?
Yes, you can. Hello, everybody. I'm London Carlisle, actor, TTRPG enthusiast, and I am playing Varakos Wolfkiller. He loves death, and he loves, well, that's about it. So,
He's a simple man. He doesn't need.
he's a simple guy. Yeah, that's all you need.
All right, absolutely brilliant. Cynthia, can I jump across to you?
Yeah, hey guys, I'm Cynthia Marie. I am also a TTRPG enthusiast and actress. I will be playing Vasana tonight. Badass extraordinaire with a baby strapped to her back and lancing monsters as we speak. Like, she's pretty awesome. Kind of a Wonder Woman type character and kind of de facto leader sometimes.
Absolutely fantastic. I forgot temporarily that you were cradling a child as you ran down a monster, which is pretty fantastic.
I totally forgot that baby.
Speaking of which, across to Bridget.
The other baby in the party. Hi, my name is Bridget.
I realized that was weird as it came. I was just because you talked for a second and laughed about it. I was like, well, I didn't mean to imply you were a baby.
Seamless. No. Let's face it. Yanioth is definitely like the little kid running around this group pretending to be a grown-up warrior. Hi, everyone. My name is Bridget, community ambassador for Chaosium, and I am playing Yanioth, Vasana's older sister, who's more like her kid sister the more I explore this character and go through it, as opposed to Varakos, who is all about death. Yanioth is all about life, and if we're going to get some downtime, she really needs to get some partying in because it's been a stressful couple days.
You've done some heroic stuff, so hopefully you'll be able to take a well-deserved rest. But last but not least, we have Dave.
G'day, I'm Dave, and I'm playing Mago the Fierce. I've successfully defeated Chaos, and I've recruited a dog to my cult. All in all, good session so far.
All hail Storm Dog. No, fantastic. All right, so indeed, where we left off last time, the collection of you had just defeated a monster. The dust on the battlefield was still settling, and we'll jump back to pick up right from where we left off. But first of all, a quick summary for people who might just be joining us. The story so far is that our heroes have traveled to Johnstown to render assistance to Onagrim Holdfast, the city's wrecks. They were sent to the nearby settlement of Menria's Landing, which had not come into contact with Johnstown for a while, to see if anything was wrong. Upon arriving, they found that the settlement was lousy with scorpion men and with other creatures of chaos. They have managed to tear through the settlement, defeat all the scorpion men, and have just defeated the scorpion men's pet, which was an enormous chaos beast with several legs and a giant mouth. And it was defeated as Vasana charged across the battlefield and speared it with a lance, carrying the enormous beast sideways and slamming it onto the ground. And we will pick up right there. Some of you go tumbling, sideways from the impact. Mago, I think you were currently straddling the creature's mouth, trying to desperately not fall in. You're relatively wounded. Varakos, you were darting around. Yeah, you're not in great shape. And as everything sort of falls into chaos and panic, we will zoom back in. And we will start by zooming back in on Mago as we talk about specifically the effects of the Berserk spell. Now, I have always understood the Berserk spell as driving you to be a Stormball cultist. You are in a chaos-infested area, and there is quite a presence of chaos in the general area. My assumption is here you would get up and you would start limping at top speed and throwing yourself into tunnels and tracing through the area and trying to track down any living remnant of chaos that still is around Menria's Landing. But you may see it differently. Perhaps it will push you to try and attack your fellows, and they might have to do some scrambling out of your way or try and talk you down. What do you think Mago's impetus is at this stage?
I would think that with this large, hulking, massive chaos we've just killed, and given that it almost consumed me, I think I just set to it with my battle axe, hacking it into pieces, and sort of just carving my way through the thing. Equal parts revenge and zealotry. Given that it did have a pretty good chomp on my left leg, which is completely stuffed, and I'm pretty sure once my Berserker spell fades, that's going to put me unconscious. So it's I'll basically tucker myself out eventually. It's like letting a kid. Just let him play with that, he'll fall asleep eventually.
That's absolutely fantastic. Well, as the dust begins to settle, let's get a quick description of everybody's characters. This is right after you've had a big fight, you've taken down a boss, everyone's a little worse for wear, as you all spin around and come back. Mega, we sort of know vaguely what your deal is, but we'll come back to you at the end. Let's start with Visana, since as we discussed, you currently have a child with you, and that's rather interesting. What does Visana look like at the end of the battle? What's your immediate actions? What's your immediate thought? What's the cool vignette of your character that we get?
Yeah, so Visana kind of lowers down, like with all of her strength, lowers down the lance, because obviously the beast is still kind of on the end of it, so she doesn't want to just like plop it with the child behind her. So she like lowers down with as much strength as possible. And I think Mola, her bison's probably slowing down too, kind of helping her like balance the situation. She's gonna drop the lance onto the ground because there's a beast on it and she's got to pull it out, but doesn't want to do that in front of the kid just yet. So she kind of grabs the kid off of her back, kind of brings it to the front and make sure the child's okay. And she's going to slide off Molon and probably look over to Mago, who's berserking and wondering if she's going to have to do something about it. So she kind of asks the child if they would mind staying with Molon, pet Molon. So I'll leave it to you if the child decides to stay on Molon or come with me to try to take care of Mago.
I think you've kind of calmed down the situation quite a bit, and there's probably a little bit of hesitance, but eventually this small child will grab a hold of Molon's fur with that, childish really tightness, and you can see Molon like kind of shift, go it's like ow, but is completely fine. You'll be able to slide off and walk towards Mago, who is slashing and hacking apart the corpse of this creature.
Cool. I'd like to have my broadsword out as I approach Mago. She's fairly shorter than Mago, so she's got to have something to protect her.
It's a good idea. So you're coming in cautiously, waiting to see if Mago is going to spin around and leap to attack you.
Yep.
Let's jump across to Varakos. What about you? What are you doing?
Yeah, Varakos, he has just done some pretty quick maneuvers, some slashes to this thing here, but he's covered, in bruises, not necessarily like bruises and cuts, not necessarily from just like recklessness, but when he's so locked into like the fight, he doesn't even notice these things happening. And even in this moment now, sort of at this little impasse, still doesn't notice them, but they are there. They are apparent. And what's also apparent in his eyes is that hunger for the death, for the fight. That's kind of been happening here.
So is there, we've talked about how Varakos is quite reserved most of the time, but you described this hunger for more death and for battle. I mean, this is Varakos's kind of purpose. Is there in his features now, in his heart, is he abandoning that restrained character that he has for like more? Can you see true animation, or is this more like it's kind of a deeper sense of his meditative total focus? Does this kind of break you out of your usual demeanor, or is this an extension of your usual demeanor, do you think?
This is an extension. So it's not either or, it's this and that.
This and
is
that.
kind of, which is kind of his whole deal. It's these emotions, they don't just not exist, but he's focused on other things. So it's that and that.
Okay, perfect. I really like it. Excellent. Yanioth, what about you?
Yeah, Yanioth is high on multiple different facets of this adventure. One, she got her quote-unquote healing magic back after botching it twice beneath, so she's stoked and high on that. Her sister just had this absolutely epic, extraordinary, like she can tell stories about this final lance attack for years. So like the song and the music's already coming into her head, and she's kind of like one of those people you see on the tube or on the subway that while all this is going on, they've got their headsets on. and the song is already coming to them. So she's already in her own little happy world because she's so proud of her sister. She's so excited for everything that the party has done. She's got her magic back, and she's going to start dancing to this song and to the lyrics that are quickly coming to her over towards Mago, completely oblivious of the fact that she might be in danger by approaching them. Because like, oh, she needs to touch that leg and dance around and touch anyone else. But she's just so excited. She's so high, and she's childlike oblivious that anything could possibly go wrong.
I love this. The kind of ritualistic songs of Analda begin to flow from your mouth as you begin to dance. Dasana, you're approaching really, really cautiously, and then suddenly you see your sister brush past in a whirl of fabric, spinning towards Mago. Let's jump across to... Let's jump across to Mago quickly. Could you please describe your final moments of hacking this thing apart and give us one cool vignette before you pitch forward face first, unconscious?
Yeah, so my leg has been completely mauled. I think this thing got a good chomp in, and there's still one of the teeth like embedded in it, blood flowing freely. My arm, which was scratched earlier, was healed by Yanioth, but there's like a scar that's kind of grown across it. And in my rage, I've bitten down on my tongue, so there's like blood pooling around my mouth, and my eyes are bloodshot and wild. I look completely feral throughout this. I can't really talk. It's just grunts of exertion as I strike down with the axe again and again into this creature, slowly working my way through its like thick skull to break it open and reveal the darkness inside. Anyone who comes near is ignored until they get close enough, and then I'll sort of lash out towards them, and there's a few quick steps back. I don't really look like I'm coming out of this until suddenly there's like a pause. I linger on top of it and then just pitch forward, slamming my skull onto the ground and unmoving, unconscious.
Excellent. It's rather sudden. I think that you dance across Yanioth, you get sort of spooked back once or twice as you see this berserk movement, and then finally Mago, dunk, falls forward, completely unconscious, and the last vestiges of rage fall to the ground. All you can hear is the many, many wet dripping noises from the various bits of hacked apart creature that are now littering the ground all around you. Manria's landing, for the time being, is safe. And as we pull back for a second, I would like to hear what everyone wants to do. You know that you still have the collection of prisoners or hostages of the Scorpion men that were being held downstairs in the former temple building, one of the farms. They all still appear to be paralyzed. You know that there were tracks leading towards what might have been a kind of hive or a burrow or another home for these Scorpion people, but that's probably a little further out. It's kind of a longer to medium term problem rather than something that you need to deal with today. And you have Mago face down on the ground. Yanioth, this might be your area of expertise, trying to rally everybody together and deal with the healing, deal with the aftermath of the battle. But then again, Vasana, this might be a leadership question. What's the plan? What are you going to do? You have your mission in mind. What does that apply now? How does that apply now?
So, I mean, I have a couple of things in mind. You let me know, Yanioth, how you want to handle some of it. I want to get to the bottom of what happened here. I'm a seeker of truth, so I definitely want to know if there's any more. How did this happen? Why did this happen? But at the same time, I'm actually really concerned about Mago. So I think at first glance, I kind of like grab like his tuft of his hair and like lift him up, just to kind of like be like, okay, all right, this is normal, and like drop his head again.
Hey.
I kind of look at Yanioth like, this is your problem now. She's actually secretly concerned for Mago, not gonna lie, but we'll get eventually to that. I think Vasana's gonna want to go find out what's going on and would rally her team as they come around to join her in the quest for truth.
Okay, perfect. So Varakos and Yanioth, the two of you are pulled forward as you are told essentially by Vasana that you need to search, you need to figure out what happened here. Is there anything the two of you want to jump into and do immediately?
I have it in my head that right when Mago did the, light switch face plant, that it was right around that same time that Yanioth's dance came to like a climax as well. So like a leg goes up, arm goes, and she like death drops right next to him. And I feel like she's just going to lay on the ground after the death drop and like put a hand on his chest and put a hand on her chest and just kind of do the, we were both hyperventilating, or like he's unconscious, but you know, panting, and she's doing that. But she will focus on healing, and like she's enjoying this moment. And her sister is already on this bullshit, like, let's get the job done. And she's like, can I have just 5 minutes here? Just fine.
Okay, you get 10 minutes because I need to find this child's family.
Yeah, and if we could get the people up from downstairs, I could heal them up here. But right now the music is perfect. And she's digging one hand into the ground and then transferring as much healing as she needs to Mago.
The
Fantastic.
people downstairs, so the people down below, which of those are we bringing up?
Not the lunar ones.
Just asking for confirmation.
Oh, I see. Yes, I mean, I do like to help as many people as possible, but the lunars can stay down there for a while I interrogate them. But first I need to find this child's family. It didn't seem like this child had much more family around. So I'm going to go back to Molon and grab the child.
Excellent. All makes sense. Now, a couple of things very quickly. So first of all, Yanniot, I'm just, that image of you dancing around the outskirts of this like circle of gore as Mago just hacks apart stuff is fantastic. As you collapse down and you can begin to heal, I will say that we will go in detail. We will go into detail about the sort of procedures of healing in a little bit. Don't worry about casting spells right now.
Okay.
Because we'll sort of organize it in total as you decide what you want to do. Now, when you go over to this this child Vasana, she does have a name. Although if you want to give her a nickname or anything like that, you're completely welcome to. She's just so terrified she hasn't introduced herself yet, essentially. And now that everything has calmed down a bit, there's you can speak to her a bit and be a bit softer. She will introduce herself as Hanetha, is her name. And you manage to get a few timid words out of her. She lives in the house over there, and her parents told her to hide when the monsters came. She basically has just been hiding in a cupboard for quite a while now. When you start to move people out, you will very quickly be able to identify her parents, both of whom are fine, but affected by the paralyzing poison, which is slowly starting to wear off. And you will see, the beginning of movement begin to return to all of these people. Her parents will ecstatically thank you for saving her, and you can see relief wash over their faces as she comes down and sort of sits next to them, and they manage to hold on to her with vaguely kind of tensed and contracted muscles. She is safe for the time being. Is there any additional actions you want to take, making sure she's okay, or will you begin your search of the other houses?
I think I'm gonna let the family have the time that they need to regroup. I may check back with them later, but I think I'm gonna be more focused on interrogating the lunars before they regain strength.
Probably a good idea. Okay, excellent. So Yanioth, while you begin to manage everybody, and you were taking care of Mago, you were taking care of everybody, Varakos will assume that while Vasana was trying to find Hanetha's parents, you have started to move everybody out. And we'll now cut downstairs, where I'm assuming Vasana and Varakos, the two of you have headed downstairs into the basement of the temple, while Mago and Yanioth are upstairs with everybody else, and you can speak to the Lunars. They still seem to be relatively kind of tensed up and restricted, but they can talk. The poison is beginning to fade. One of them, a middle-aged woman with short cropped hair, seems to be their de facto leader, and she will answer any questions that you have.
Before any questions are asked, using my so can I roll against a passion in itself, or do I just have to bolster something with it?
You can absolutely roll against the passion itself. It depends what you're trying to achieve. If you're trying to achieve an effect, passions don't really represent skills, but if you were trying to decide what your character would do, for example, if you wanted to roll against something like that, what did you want to achieve? What were you hoping to do with your roll?
Well, I was just wanted to size up the Lunars that we have here and just see possibly what kind of rank, like if we have any like high ranking people or like, you know, low ranking, or just what kind of group this is.
Yeah, that is a good idea. So that would be an insight roll, or if you had any knowledge, like a lore lunar empire or anything like that. Alternatively, I think that considering you fight lunars, that is what you do, you could make a battle check here, and you could totally augment that with your hate lunar empire. This is a non-standard use of the battle skill, but I think that in context, I'm quite happy for this to occur.
All right, thank you, Game Master. Let's see.
So do you want to take the augment? Are you going to attempt to augment it with hate lunar empire?
I will augment it with the hate lunar empire. Yes.
Excellent. So make a D100 roll.
Okay. Had to make sure I changed my name
from Dallas Dice Roller. Yeah,
and
exactly.
Not Dallas Dice Roller.
No Dallas Dice Roller today. Varakos, 48. That's a success, absolutely. So you can take the augment, which will bring your battle skill from 60 to 80.
Mm-hmm.
So make another D100 roll, and you're looking for under 80. 56. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so these are all relatively low-ranking lunars. The Lunar Empire is very organized. Think very Roman Legion sort of deal, and they would have markings on them which denote which battle groups and formations they're part of, and these appear to be disparate battle groups, different people. The highest ranking one, this woman, who you'll eventually get her name is Eros. She appears to be like a sergeant of some sort or similar, like, the first rank up from showing that I'm not very familiar with military ranks here, but the first rank up from what the sort of rank and file soldier would be. With your success, you reckon that these people are probably deserters. They're too disparate to have been specifically sent here for some mission. And you know that the Battle of Dangerford ended in what was practically a rout for the Lunar Empire. Only General Fazza Widered's tactical genius stopped it being a complete disaster because he managed to pull a lot of his forces, but many of them just scattered to the many winds, and probably some of them ended up here. Mago shuffles in his sleep at the thought of lunars not doing so well.
Okay. Cool.
Yep.
I'll just relay that information to Vasana, and I would just like spit at the ground for their lack of honor to the lunars, even though I knew lunars were cowards anyway. So
yeah, this is yeah. Vasana, do you have any questions you want to ask? Eros kind of introduces herself, and she will say, if you have questions for us, I will answer them. Otherwise, I call upon your honor to let us go. We are unarmed and unable to resist.
I see. Well, I do want to understand exactly why you decided to desert the Lunar Empire. That is quite dishonorable.
Well, the battle was over. You can see that the dishonor stings her. This is a real point of soreness, but she tries to justify it as best she can. And these are not necessarily, solid justifications, but she tries her best. And she says, the battle was over, people were routed, and we needed to leave. We could have stayed and died, but we might be able to do more service to the Lunar Empire if we leave and regroup. That was the thought for some of us. For others, it was to return to our families. So we fled, we scattered, and many of us, at different times, found our ways through to this town, where we stumbled across the same fate as the locals.
I see. Game Master, do I have any sort of ability to detect if she's lying to me?
Your insight skill would be your default here. That'd probably be your go-to. Do you want to make an insight check, and do you want to add plus 20 to this? That's probably your default way of trying to figure this out.
So, fun story. I don't think I have insight on here.
Yeah, it's a perception skill.
Excellent. In which case, let me get you your default perception value, which should be... One moment, please.
I think it's 20.
I believe it is 20, but I'll just confirm. I've got the sheet right here. So your default perception So for insight, sorry, is own species is 20 plus your bonus for your perception skills, Vasana, which for you is +5. So this is going to be a base of 25. Now,
could I augment with my hate for the Lunar Empire?
Absolutely, you can. You know these people are going to get something out of you. Now, before as well, you have these people are prisoners. Effectively, you can take plus 20% to this as a default. So you're going to raise it to 45 already. Now you could augment it again with your Hate Lunar Empire. So make a D100 roll against your Hate Lunar Empire.
Which will surely produce an unbiased read on the situation.
Exactly. That's a success at plus 20.
Yeah.
Bringing 65 is now your target to make your D100 roll. Yep. All right, you're good.
Nice.
Yes. She is, for what it's worth, telling the truth. Now, it's not a good truth. She is admitting to, first of all, being relatively dishonorable and fleeing and not staying to, do battle and then nobly be captured, or if it must have been that way, slayed in battle as her duty would have recommended. So these are lunar deserters. It's not a great thing. They also were wandering around, and some of them probably stumbled into Menria's landing, but it's also very possible they looked at it as an easy target. Something that they could steal a couple of supplies from, maybe get a horse from. They probably weren't planning to assault the town. They wouldn't have had the numbers for it, but they would have been able to just fled. Exactly, yeah. But they might have been able to grab some things and get out. So she's not really, she's admitting to, not being a great person, but not being a completely vile person. You will note as well that when she's speaking, she is kind of using general terms. There's 3 of them, including her. She hasn't really identified what her reasoning was. And she seems to be holding one thing back from you. And you are not sure what that is, but it kind of lies unspoken in the air. It's a no. She stays silent about her reasons for specifically making her way towards Menria's landing.
Interesting. So, I understand what it is like to want to return to family, and I'm not an unreasonable person. However, if you want me to let you go, and I'm not saying anybody else is going to let you go around here, you're going to tell me why the Lunar Empire is even remotely close to this area.
Well, the Lunars, as you would know, have aspirations to retake and reclaim the land that they lost at the Battle of Dangerford. They have retreated, but it is not a full retreat. They won't go as far back as Tarsh, and they will attempt to retake this land and stay for as long as they can. Lunar deserters, and there will be others like us who chose different paths and who escaped in different ways, rather than make have chosen to remain and wait for the Lunars to come back to them when they attempt a counterattack. As to exact plans, I do not know, but the Lunar Empire does not give up its conquests easy.
How close are they?
I don't know. You succeeded your insight check. She honestly doesn't know. You are a warrior. This will be a terms of, if not, months potentially, like they're going to try again next year in the summer kind of thing. So this is you are still at war with the Lunar Empire, and it's going to be an ongoing back and forth. She does not have the latest information of any battle plans, but what she does indicate is something which is you probably unfortunately suspected, but this is the confirmation you really didn't want to get, that the Lunars are not done. Or maybe you did want to get it so you could charge down a few more of them. But yeah.
Is there anything else that you are holding back? Now's the time to say it, because you may end up meeting your death not by my sword.
By mine.
Excellent. Can you make an intimidate check, I think, Vasana, and you can add plus 20, I think, because Varakos, you are also leaning over there looking incredibly terrifying.
45? And I've already used my hate for Lunar Empire.
Yes,
so
you've already augmented this scene, I'm afraid.
Okay.
Let's see. Ooh,
well done.
Fantastic. You did. So she looks like she's trying to, she kind of bends her head, and you can just already hear her about to say, you know, I have nothing more to say to you. But then instead she kind of bites her lip for a second, and she will look back up, and she will say, if you do decide to kill us, I would request on your honor that you take my body back to Johnstown. I have family there, and there are many disciples of the Seven Mothers there who will wish to honor me. Yours is not the only people in Dragon Pass that call it home.
I see. Well, you've asked for my mercy and my honor, and so I will let you go. Now you must convince my other compatriots to do the same. And I just kind of brush past her.
Great, awesome, very cool. So Vasana, you brush past, you returning upstairs where you can rejoin the others. At this point, Haratha's family will have sort of begun to be able to move more freely, and they will stand and head over to you. Her mother embraces you and thanks you very earnestly. And we'll jump back to Varakos. You are now downstairs with these Lunas. The other two have sort of piped up occasionally and sort of thrown in words or the odd plea. But this conversation, really, the heart of it is with Eros, this woman who appears to speak for all of them. She looks you up and down. Now, you're pretty clearly a Humakti. You know, you speak volumes in the way that you appear. And she will say, after a long considered pause, there is no honor in killing unarmed opponents, Humakti. Let me go, or grant me the chance to fight you in single combat.
He looks her up and down. It's that her words sort of recognize, as she recognizes sort of his psyche of accepting surrender, not killing unarmed people. But also something that Varakos does, he would go so far as to protect those that have surrendered to him. So he doesn't have to say much to her other than, no duel is needed. You surrendered. I honor that. And then I just sort of look at the array of lunars there before, ushering up to go back and follow Vasana.
That is absolutely fantastic and very honorable actions from both of you. That's fantastic, and that is the elders and your ancestors would be very proud. You come out, and the two of you will stand by and help. Eventually, Yanioth, you will see the Lunas emerge, and they have gathered up from, the detritus that is still scattered around, a meager amount of supplies, just enough to keep them able to get out on the road so that they don't starve, and they will limp and struggle and help each other out of the town. Mago, you will regain consciousness in a minute, so you will actually miss the opportunity to have a say in this. Perhaps you would have been very keen to not let them go, or let them go, who knows. But Yanioth, do you have any objections, or are you happy to let the Lunas walk away as well?
Oh God, she wants to kill him so bad. You have no idea how badly she wants to kill him. God, she wants to kill him so bad. But she is literally not about to put Varakos in a mood. She just can't deal with it. This is a happy moment. This is a happy place. And she knows if she kills him, she can't deal with him right now. So she's gonna, bite the interior of her lip and let them go. She is gonna ask from the people up there, and forgive me if I mispronounce his name, but she's trying to track down is it Deliska?
Yes. You are looking for specifically. Let me just get the exact pronunciation correct. Just one moment. Deslakar.
Okay.
Yes. Looking at Deslakar. So Deslakar is the de facto leader, indeed, and that. So yes, you will be able to track him down. He is okay. In fact, there are very, very, very few deaths of the villagers that occurred. Most people were paralyzed and taken down. The only person who did pass away was Eodra Sparehair, who was the owner of Stormdog. which means that Storm Dog now does not have an owner. And it sounds like I'm making this up to throw a dog at you. I am not. It is in the starter set. Eodris Fairhair does not survive. And if you want to check if I'm telling the truth, you'll have to pick up the RuneQuest starter set. But exactly. Yes. Thank you, London.
Oh my God! It's actually in the module. Wow.
It's in the module. So yes. So without much to do, when you eventually do wake up, Mago, you will have Storm Dog licking at your face or kind of nestled near you. This old farm mutt who is refusing to give up. But most of the people there are around, and Deliskar will be able to talk to you and explain to you that they were set upon by the Scorpion Men who attacked en masse, took each of the farms one by one night. There was some attempted defense, but they're not warriors. They weren't really able to put up much. So they have been waiting for saviors, and you have come. Praise be, Jawalan. Thank you very much. And of course to Analda and the Stormbull and Humagt. And yes, you're all very important, but there's some Orlanthi pride here going on. They're particularly happy with Orlanth. I have a couple of questions, and we're going to break out from sort of moment to moment gameplay here as we zoom out a little bit. You're about to make a trip back to Menria's Landing, and unless the collection of you decide to frantically, go sprinting off into the woods to try and give chase to the potential lair of some more of these things, which would be quite a journey and probably something you don't want to do while Mago's leg is broken, you are going to hit time to rest. So I don't want to dive into the details of what magic points get spent where and exactly what healing rates are for the immediate day, because we might just completely wipe those in a moment. But my assumption is that Yanioth, you are going to use your magic and your skill, and you are going to heal as many of these people as you can.
Correct. Starting with us back to full, and then whatever's left over towards the villagers that are here. Yeah. Okay.
Can I get you to just make a general first aid check? Great. Meanwhile, the rest of you, they explained that given everything that's happened, that's why they didn't give the tribute. Do any of you want to demand it out of them, or is this kind of a situation where you're happy to kind of, this is all right, you'll get us on the next one kind of thing?
Yeah, I think that's the right thing to do after all that they've gone through.
Yeah, that seems pretty sensible. A couple of them are going to also need to be shepherded back towards Johnstown to see the Chalana Arroy healers, because they are a little more wounded. Although the paralysis stops slightly, it doesn't stop fully, and they need more focused and concentrated healing magics. So will the collection of you be happy to escort them back? That means that probably you stay in Menria's Landing overnight, you heal, you rest, you restore, and you will lead a couple of people, perhaps leave some behind. Yanioth, is 57 a success for you?
Failed it by 7.
Oh, that is such a shame.
So close.
Okay, so unfortunately, this is just quite a complex situation, and there are specific skills for treat poison and that sort of thing. So this is just a little outside your expertise. You're able to do some cursory help, all of the standard care, but for specific stuff, you're going to need people to get back to Johnstown. But that's fine, because your next destination is Johnstown, where you'll be able to rally and speak with everybody and complete, effectively, this scenario. Before you leave Menria's Landing, is there anything you want to do? And Mago, you will have awoken. So you look like you have something in particular. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Is the local leader staying here, or is she going to come with us, Deslakar?
Deslakar.
Someone needs to look over these people, right?
Exactly. Deslakar will remain here for the time being.
I want to talk to her before we go and make sure that she recognized exactly who it was that helped them out with their little chaos/lunar problem. So I want to make sure she knows the name Vasana, Varakos, Yanioth, and Mago. And if they want to erect a small shrine or statue or dedicate a building when they put it up, that'd be fine by us.
That's okay.
That's totally all right.
Mago, that is fantastic.
Oh my God.
You absolutely do that. You make sure they know. Would you like to make, in addition, an orate or a sing or a dance check here? Just something to Just something to try and bolster your legend.
Can I do intimidate? As like a kind of like a, it's a slightly not threatening to them, but in like a grandeur, like bigness. I'm fine with if you'd say no. I can say no.
No, you can, but it's just I'm just thinking through the. I'll tell you what. You can. If you fail, what is going to happen is that the next time you all come into Menria's Landing, you're likely to be treated like heroes and, granted some of the mead from Eadris's, mead houses, although, that'll have been taken over by somebody else, and given the finest food available. Otherwise, they'll be really scared of you. So, you'll still probably be given the food, but it'll be like, oh, please don't, oh mighty Stormborn cultists, do not chop us.
All the same, the story grows.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll absolutely intimidate them. So
Fantastic.
I have 70 in intimidate. I'm going to go ahead and augment with honor.
Yes, absolutely. No, you could augment this with your honor. You deserve to be. Now remember, what is your honor? What is your honor?
Mine is 60.
Okay, so there's a chance.
It's in the cards. All right, so augmenting first, which will fail.
Okay, so you reduce your intimidate by 10%.
Okay, intimidate now is 60. Come on, you dogs. Get it up.
Oh,
that's
almost
a special.
Oh, it is a special. It is a
That's
special.
exactly
As well. Absolutely. They would be crazy not to erect some kind of statue in the middle of town. And as the collection of you go to leave the following morning, you can already see one or two of the locals scratching out the area in which the Chaos Beast was slain. There is going to be a statue erected. And since you got a special, Mago, why don't you describe what the shrine or the statue will be? It can either be, just quickly in directions, you could completely do something that's just honoring you, or maybe you want to do something a bit Stormbull focused. You could make it.
I do like a Stormbull focus. I think it's functionally a shrine to the Stormbull on this point. I don't think they have the ability to do like a full like marble statues of us or anything, or even wooden. So I think it's symbolic. I think there's something with like 4 crossed weapons or like symbols of each of our weapons, like a lance, a broadsword, a battle axe, and then maybe like a wooden, like something that like connects them all together, more representing Yanioth and her fluid dance around it. And these 4 like crossed over a symbol, because I know Chaos has a rune of its own, like a symbol of it, right? But it's been like destroyed, and instead there's the air rune over it representing the Stormbull.
That's fantastic. That's really, really cool. All
that is
woven
dope.
Together. Yeah. All right. Brilliant. So the shrine will be placed, and the rest of you will band together, and you will make your trip back across to Johnstown.
I'd like to comment that Vasana would look over her shoulder at Mago and go, "What exactly are they doing over there?"
They're making a shrine to us. You know how we saved them? You know how they would have been fucked if we hadn't been here? And you know how they were being attacked by Lunars first, and then monsters, and then we came in and single-handedly saved their village? It's a small token. They were happy to do it. I just pushed them in the right
embarrassed
direction.
I asked.
You shouldn't be. This is how our story grows. If they don't know our names, if they don't sing our praise, what's the point of any of this? Huh?
There's so much more to this. Oh. Like, Vasana's like a bright red now, like if olive skin can turn bright red. Like, super embarrassed, just kind of like puts her head down and like walks away, like, oh.
That's fantastic. I love it. I love it. But the statue is already growing, and it's lingering in the back of your mind, Vasana. As it like, oh dear. I forgot to ask as well, Rakos, Yanioth, any final actions before we dive off towards Johnstown? Nope. Okay. In which case, the road takes you. The travel back along, this time with some wounded people, so it's a little bit of a slower trip. It's still the distance isn't huge, but it's across tough terrain, weaving back and forth. When you head across the Boronini River, you can see Molon just kind of again step forward and get across, splashing through. Before long, you will arrive back in Johnstown. The locals will be escorted back towards the Menria's Landing locals, that is, will be taken up towards the Chalana Roy Temple, where they can receive proper medical treatment. You're known at the gates by now, and Faran, The gate guard with the floppy helmet will, let you
love
past
him.
immediately. And the collection of you will be able to return to Onagrim Holdfast, who will receive you in his halls. He's still perpetually seems to have just eaten. So even though you come in like the middle of the workday, comparatively, he's like brushing lunch from his shirt, and he will thank you for your contribution to the protection of the city. And as arranged, he will see that all of you are paid, and there's much rejoicing. He's happy that he has heroes to count on, and he encourages you to take some rest. Because surely he will have need to call upon you again at some point in the future. We'll jump across to the downtime section of the game in a second. But first of all, is there anything you want to do, everything you want to ask specifically of Onagrim, or any actions you want to take before we break out and start moving through days, weeks, months?
I mean, for one thing, he should recognize that the place had been overrun by first Lunars, then Chaos, and his little militia or whatever was supposed to go out there to defend it was completely ineffective. And if it weren't for the four of us, those people would have all been dead and fed to a Chaos monster. So
I recognize it. Of course. People like you and me, Mago. People like us. We're the heroes who protect people.
Yes.
They would have been eaten if we all hadn't intervened.
Absolutely correct.
You and I.
Good.
See
Yes.
eye to eye. Exactly.
He gets it.
You can see as the two of them, this is Mago in 20 years, sitting behind a desk.
For sure.
I can't
Very
wait.
happy.
A retired warrior for sure.
Exactly.
I'm already gunning for retirement. I haven't done anything yet.
Vasana, you don't look as happy with him, and you can see that there is definitely he's a bit up himself.
Yeah, Vasana just looks at Mago with that like evil stare of like, I will talk to you later about this.
Mago has no idea what he's done. He goes, what? And takes a step back.
Later.
Trouble.
Excellent. What will happen is, as the collection of you scatter eventually, you will get spoken to, Vasana, by Jojira. This is the woman who came and found you with the militia with her when you originally had that confrontation with the Dark Trolls. And she gives you what would be a lot more of an official debrief. She kind of asks a lot of questions. She goes through everything, and you really get the idea that she's, doing a lot of the actual work behind the scenes here. As a Lancor Me knowledge initiate, she's pretty on top of things, and she promises you that she will organize relief to be sent to Manria's Landing along with extra guards. She records your news about the potential of a further nest of Scorpion Men, and she says that can be dealt with in time. In the meantime, you can bolster defenses there to make sure that they're not able to just come in and rout the town like this. And she is also actually the one who pays you all the sum of 20L each, which leads us to the question of bets that were made. Before we jump to downtime, the four of you will gather outside. You can have any conversations you want to do, but also I'm interested to hear who exactly won. I believe two of you bet that it would be Lunars, two of you bet that it would be monsters.
Lunars
And
were
the
not a
Lunars,
threat.
but they got there first, didn't they? So...
But no, we
But
were
we didn't
discussing
fight
what
any
the
Lunars.
town was besieged by, and it was by monsters. It was not by
It was-
Lunars. You owe us.
It was monsters.
But was
But
that
what?
specified? I don't understand.
Wait,
Was it
the
specified that the Lunars had to be behind it, or the Lunars were involved? They were involved.
No.
Lunars were
We
involved.
said who were we going to encounter to kill, and it was monsters.
Well, you
Monsters.
let the Lunars go before I got to have a go at them. we could have
They
killed
did
them
surrender.
as well.
They
did
surrendered. Can't kill somebody with.
Damn it.
No. We won.
Fine. I count up 20. I hand it over. There. I'll get that back, though. Next time I'm going to be right. Should have known it was
Will
monsters.
you?
It's always
Take my
monsters.
share.
I mean, we can wager another bet.
Mm,
How many parties is Yenioth gonna go to?
Oh, this is easy. Take all of my money.
Or rather, we should bet to see how many Yenioth can stay away from.
I'm just saying, have either of you seen The Sacred Dance of Lust? It's going to be the first one. It'll be the opener and probably the closer.
It feels like a strong opening. Do you have many in between, or is it just bookended by lust?
You know, it kind of depends on how the night goes, but
Yeah.
it's typically just booked in by lust. And Baracos promised to watch.
You see Vasana turn bright red at the sound of like lust. Like
the 3 high death runes versus the fertility
Completely
rune, you know, immediately coming in. I love it. Fantastic. Okay, great. So with that, let's move across into some downtime. Now, adventures in RuneQuest take place in a living, breathing world, and as a result, time passes, the world progresses, it develops. We play in the dark season, the kind of winter equivalent, and typically scenarios or adventures in RuneQuest happen about 1 per season. So the collection of you now will have a couple of months to be able to establish yourselves inside the town. And also, you kind of got swept into adventure as soon as you arrived. This is really you getting the opportunity to settle in, to get used to the place. There's a lot that's going to happen. You're going to have some experience rolls, you're going to have some rewards, and some story stuff that's going to pop up. It's as much as part of the game as the going out and thumping the monsters is. So let's begin with a couple of things. First of all of you are going to gain 1d3 reputation for your part in the rescue, taking care of everybody. So you can all do a d3 of reputation and add it to your character's reputation value, which will be at the top of their sheet. Now, because you let those Lunas go and you did it in a way where they are going to go and talk about the honor that was shown to them, you can all add +1 reputation to that as well.
Oh,
so
wow.
The story of you is going to spread to a certain extent, and even amongst people who don't like Lunas, you behaved honorably, and that's important. So all of you can add a d3 reputation +1, and as I mentioned before, you have all been paid 20L.
Some of us.
Okay. Yeah, some of you have.
Some of us.
Have a, maybe
Get any
a
bonus
little
for having a
less.
sweet shrine built in our name?
Not at this stage, but we'll come
gonna
back to
ask.
that because that may have
Worth a shot.
some potential effects.
Get it in, yes.
I was gonna ask that. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, brilliant.
The tail of Mago grows.
No, okay, so I didn't mean no. I meant to say so, but it just came out as no. The pale mango doesn't grow. No, it does. It does absolutely. So the next thing is you are all going to be given somewhere to stay or encouraged to set yourselves up. Now, this isn't, you're all given a frat house to tear around in, but you are all instead given some free room and board at some of the various inns. You can have the opportunity to settle in, and then over time you can decide whether you want to stay there long term or whether you want to go somewhere else. Varakos, you helped out the Milani tribal leadership. Bison Bane took a shine to you. You are a Humakti priest, as is Sarastip Prince Killer, the representative and ruler of the Milani tribe in Johnstown. They will extend to you an offer to stay at the Milani tribal home. This would be very comfortable for you. It is basically a place where all of the trappings of your god would be well and truly established. And it would also be a place where you would be quite relaxed and, you don't like pampering, but for what it's worth, you wouldn't have to worry about any of the trappings of everyday life. That said, this would kind of put, you're staying in the Milani tribal home. This is a faction getting one of the adventurers, this is one of the many tribes that control the city are like, come and live with us, be sort of our champion kind of. I mean, you don't have to necessarily act in their favor, but there is a bit of an implied bias here. Are you interested in taking them up on their offer?
But it is Humakti affiliated,
It is,
right?
yeah, Prince Sarastip
Yeah.
is a Humakti sword priest. He's like an elder of your church. So
Yeah.
absolutely, this is
Yes, we're gonna do it. Varakos is going to stay in this company.
Fantastic. That makes total sense. So you will be very, very comfortable there. We'll come back to you a little more later.
Nice
The
bit
other
of nails.
exactly. The other three of you. Now there are temples that represent Ernalda and Orlanth and the Storm Bull here. So you will, if the collection of you want to sort of throw yourselves into your spiritual leadership, you can. But that comes with a lot of responsibilities, and there may be some expectation of payment, and if not payment, services rendered, working as church officials at the time. You are also given the option to have some time in some taverns. I'm going to pitch you 3 taverns really quickly. For those of you who are not really a fan of being noticed, which I don't, Vasana possibly might take this option, but I think the rest of you might want something a bit nicer. There is a tavern called the Back Door, and that is like literally this like kind of quiet rogues tavern. Yeah, it's not a great name, is it?
No, it's really not.
No, there's some. Yeah, it is a quiet, little hidden away area, and there's there's a bit of an atmosphere around it that the people there are a little cloak and dagger. There is also the Gilded Beard, and that is a Lancorme affiliated temple, which is very clean, very proper. If you're kind of studious and a little quiet and reserved, it's the nerds. Inn, so you can absolutely stay there for a while. Alternatively, you are welcome to the Black Alinx, and that is like the Adventurers Inn. It's gregarious, it's loud, they're used to your kind. That's what they all assume that you are going to do. There is a giant cauldron in the center of the inn that was brought over from a distant land in Prax, and has all of this sort of magical qualities and stories around it. It's a wonderful, bright place. Any takers for the taverns? Hopefully not for the Back Door, so we can get that joke immediately out of the repertoire.
Oh, but it's just such an easy one to go through.
But we should park there.
Dun.
You know what? Biting my tongue.
Oh no, the place is burnt down. What a shame. No.
Are you sure you don't want to go to the back door? I mean, it's quite easy access.
That place stinks.
I don't know if
God.
Too easy.
It's like,
Oh, it's too easy.
Okay. Welcome to Johnstown.
Yeah, we're done. We're done.
Yep. The standard would be the Black Alinx if you want to stay there. If the collection is happy. Otherwise, the important thing is, are any of you going to spend extended amount of times at your temples?
Yes.
Okay, so you're gonna go to the Orlanth temple. Totally. All right. Mago, you had something you wanted to add?
looking at the very cool map, there is not a temple to the Storm Bull.
There is, I believe that there is a small shrine. If not, we can talk about the Renter Shrine, but let me just double check that. Thank you for alerting me.
Which means I might be the highest ranking Storm Bull worshipper in Johnstown.
Ooh, exciting.
Respect his authority.
Let me double check that. Yanioth, what is your plan?
I might be pushing a little forward. So if so, GM, let me know. But as far as the tavern specific question, she wants to straddle all three. She's going to go to her temple on holidays or whatever the regular daily, like the Sunday service masses. But no, she's resting in between battles and heroics right now. She's not about to go work. She can worship and express her faith on her back and on her knees on all three of these taverns, which is exactly what she's going to do.
Okay, that makes complete sense, and you're probably able to use that as like you dance around, and you get a little bit of time spent at each of them, so that you're able to stretch out your stay. We're going to assume that you will stay there until the next season. You will become familiar with all the various other taverns, including the tavern called the Jellied Eel, which is a gambling place. There's a tavern called the Red Harlot. There's all kinds of places. So that's perfect. There's the Bull and the Ram, which is great. That's your plan. Rakos, you're at the Milani tribal house. You said you wanted to go to the Temple of Orlanth, Vasana.
Yep.
Okay, brilliant. So you are a dutiful person. Am I correct in just assuming you're going to throw yourself into your work, your duties, your responsibilities, and basically live as an initiate over that time?
Yeah, I think she kind of has an opposite schedule to Yenioth, where she's going to be in the temple the majority of the time, but when like holidays and like other things come out, like she'll come out and like hang with people. But I think she's seeking truth right now about life.
Yeah, I mean that I absolutely get that. So that there is a temple of Orland Thunderous in the upper city, where there is this like giant rock outcropping that thunder strikes whenever there is a storm, and the temple is built around there. So you would be able to head up there and go to work. It's actually a brand new temple that was built after the liberation of the city from the Lunar Empires, and there's plenty of work to do. There's also a lot of new initiates, so you would settle in there very, very easily. Mago, you are correct. I'm so sorry. There is not a Temple of the Stormbull. There is yes, exactly. You've set one up down in Menry's Landing. There is, fortunately, a renter shrine. There is a fellow called Rosnil who figured out that there's a lot of gods here and not all of them can have shrines. So he kind of has a general usage hall that you can pay for to turn it into a shrine or something. He's got candles and he's got robes and he's got incense and paint and everything you would need to have the ceremony of your choice. So you will be able to restore your rune points when you get to it, but where do you intend to take up residence in the short term?
I, similar to Yenioth, will rotate between taverns, but rather than being someone who's like looked forward to and brings the party, I outstay my welcome one at a time. I will post up for a while, expect people to like hang out and listen to the same stories ad nauseum, feeding a storm dog underneath the table until eventually someone just politely asks when I'm going to pay the tab. I tell them to, I pay them when I can. I push them off on someone important, or I ask them to chase down Vasana. And then I move on to the next one, rotating my way throughout Johnstown.
Oh my god, that's fantastic. Let me ask one thing then, since the two of you are doing the tavern rotation game, do the two of you come across each other very often? Or like, are you following each other, or are you avoiding each other? What's the go?
I'd say we bump into each other.
Yeah. We have that weird circuit where we cross each other. It's like, oh, I was just at, the Bull and Ram. Oh, I was at the Gilded Beard, and then for sure.
We also do have
paths.
the fertility death rune thing does do very different parties. Like I think you go like whenever yours is super raucous, it's not like because I can't bore someone senseless with old war stories at any of those, so I'll head off to another one. But I think we bump into one another. I think also, you healed me up, so I'd still have like I would have lost my leg if you weren't there. So I think I'm always very, very happy to see Yenioth, and I offer to buy a drink and then can't really, not super liquid, so end up trying to squeeze it on someone else's tab who's at the party.
Oh, fantastic. I love it. Okay, so the collection of you have a place that you're all going to stay. That's fantastic. Let's do our experience rolls. So we talked a little bit about this just before we started recording, so that everyone had their skills ready. But basically in RuneQuest, when you succeed a check, whether that is a skill check, a rune check, or a passion check, you tick it, and you have the opportunity to increase it by a certain amount. This is similar to what you might have seen in other BRP games like in Call of Cthulhu, except the mechanics in RuneQuest are slightly different. So here's how it works. You look at the value that you've got. So say that you had a score of 60 in scan. You would be trying to, and you've ticked it, when you reach the end of the scenario, you try to roll over it. And if you roll over it, so if you fail the check, you're actually going to increase it. So this is the circumstance in which you want to fail rather than succeed. That way, the better you are at something, the harder it is for you to raise it up. Now, there is one other thing to mention. When you roll that D100, you add to it whatever your default bonus for that type of skill is. So taking Mago as an example, you have an agility of +5. So all of your agility skills have a natural +5 to them. That means that you would automatically add +5 to any roll. So if you had, say that you were trying to increase your climb, which you have a skill of 55 in, and you rolled a 53, oh no, you succeeded. You add +5 to the roll though, which would bring it to 58, meaning you fail, meaning you do increase it.
Cool.
In the same way, manipulation here, you'd be adding +15. When you raise something, you either raise it by a D6 or you can choose to take 3. It's up to you. So I'll hand over to the collection of you. I'll start. Please start rolling your skills and shout out if you get any really good increases.
Hell yeah. And also we improve passions and relevant runes.
Yes,
as well,
you do.
right?
Passions and relevant runes, absolutely. Now, the only thing to mention is that you have opposed runes. If one of them goes up, so your death rune, your fertility rune, your man rune, your beast rune, your truth rune, your illusion rune, if one goes up, the other must go down. That's how those balanced runes work.
Interesting. Okay.
Do my runes first. So I'm rolling for death.
Exactly. Yaniok, we also talked about how you might have wanted to alter one of your runes. We talked a little bit about your movement versus stasis rune, something like that. If you would like to, you can make an alteration of that now, considering we had that conversation. And Vasana, we've talked about truth a lot. You automatically have a high truth rune. It's 70 versus 30, but it feels like it's become a bit more important to you. Would I be correct in guessing that?
Yep.
Oh, fantastic. Well, because RuneQuest is a dynamic game and we want to make those kind of changes, would you like to alter your truth rune value? You can bump it. Do you want to bump it by a D10 and we reduce your illusion rune by an according value? That's up to you. That would show truth becoming more important to you. And as it reaches kind of 75, 80, it might even result in you feeling compelled to get like a truth rune tattoo on your body.
Oh, hell yeah.
Like that. Completely up to you.
Interesting. So if I go down in illusion, what do I lose?
So you lose the ability to augment things with illusion, kind of, because it's a lot lower. But really, you don't lose anything as much as it just represents a shift in your character. You become less duplicitous. You will have more trouble lying. You will have more trouble being illusory. You like to be straightforward. You like to be direct. You like to tell the truth. And find the truth in things. So you'll gain a bonus to your behavior where through the augmenting system. But no, it's not like you lose access to certain abilities or anything like that.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I do want to crank up my truth.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, please bump it by a D10 and reduce your illusion by whatever you roll.
So rolling a D10.
Yes, excellent. Let's see.
Not
4.
by much.
Not by much. That's still though, it's you're moving in that direction.
So I would go up in truth and down in illusion.
Yes. So your truth, which is 70, would go up to 74, and your illusion would go down to 26.
Okay. Everybody else is rolling a whole bunch, and now I gotta catch up to everybody.
So for mine, I did have one where I rolled under it, but the plus 10 from the relevant skill did bump it. So for context, I have increased my, it was search.
Oh, fantastic.
So mine increases have been sense, chaos, insight, human, and search. Unfortunately, I did not increase my 100% battle axe, which I was really gunning.
Increasing a skill at 100 is very, very difficult.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. What about you, London? Did you have something you wanted to ask? You looked like you were about to say something.
I was going to ask something earlier. Answered. It was asked. Dave, so all good. Yeah, all good. Yeah, all good. Yeah. So just now doing my rolls now. I've got my first failure. So you can see that 99 there. So.
Oh, yeah, brilliant.
What was that?
Boosting something up.
That's going to be against my battle. So my battle will be going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. And a D6, right? Or
yep.
Yes, a D6, or you can take 3 if you're not feeling lucky.
I'm feeling lucky. Oh, well, didn't matter.
Stable.
Right.
All right, and everyone continues to move through. So, other things will continue to happen as we jump forward. And one of the nice things that is going to occur for everybody is you are going to be sent gifts. After a couple of weeks living inside Johnstown, all of you will receive a little thank you gift basket equivalent. No, a message of fine items from Menria's Landing that would have been seen to have been nice or beneficial to each of you. Vasana, you will receive a handmade gift, and this would be basically like a small sculpture of an Orlanth figure that would have been sent to you by Hagatha, the child that you saved, as a thanks for your what you did. Exactly. So it would have been like a nice little token of appreciation. If you would like to, you are welcome to carry this on your person, and while you have it on your person, you can increase your customs Hjortling, which is sort of the local customs of what people do in this area, the ways of the local people, by 5%. So you can add a 5% bonus to that skill. Similarly, Mago, you will receive a small carved figure of the Stormball, just as a nice token of appreciation.
Who did this?
This would have been a group effort. You don't know specifically who did it. It would have just been a mark. They probably got it commissioned. Actually, honestly, it's quite
support
smooth,
local
quite simple.
businesses. Very good.
Exactly. Yeah,
Support
exactly
local.
what you want. You can add +5 to your worship Stormball skill when you have this displayed upon your person. Yanioth, you are not given a trinket, I'm afraid. Instead, you are given a quite large collection of sort of fine farm goods. So you were given some mead and some honey from Edith's Fairhair's former sites. And you are also given us a collection of fine crops, just essentially a tribute. You can either take these and enjoy them yourself, or you could sell them for a total of 5L, if you would like. You famously do not accept gifts generally, Varakos. So, the Humakti are rather reserved. So you probably receive a very tokenistic item, like sort of like a single stick of incense or something like that, that has been, ornately, placed on a carved piece of wood. It's not exactly fancy, but the appreciation is there. And isn't that what counts?
Yes, so we'll take.
All right, we'll take it. Excellent. Meanwhile, jumping away, we're going to talk about one other feature of Downtime, and that is training. You always have the option to learn a new skill. You need to find a teacher, and that can be a little bit difficult because you are obviously, you need to know somebody who's really good at it, and they have to be willing to spend a lot of time to teach you. Vasana, since you are living at the Orlanth Temple, anyone at your temple will be happy to teach you one of the associated cult skills. So something to do with worship of Orlanth. So this could be literally a worship Orlanth skill. It could be something like training for weapon. It could be something like farm as well, if you want to go down one of the other avenues of how Orlanth is depicted. That is up to you, and I'll go through a full list of skills for you with you in a moment, unless you immediately are attracted by the idea of just broadsword. Let's do broadsword. The rest of you, since you are not actually staying inside a temple, are all invited by Bisonbane, who is happy to organize contacts within the Milani tribe to actually trade you. So you can, as a result, have anything associated with Humakt worship, as if it was through the temple and their extended usage. And Bisonbane is also happy to teach you something himself. He fought with a name like Bisonbane, as you might expect. He fought in Prax against the nomadic riders, specifically the bison riders. So he would be very happy to teach a ride bison skill, for example. So Vasana, if you wanted to learn from him, you could take a ride bison learning role, or any of his knowledge in that field, like survival or anything like that. Do any of you have some training that you would like to
Well, what's the
undertake?
result of choosing training? Does it just tick the skill?
It doesn't just tick the skill. It gives you a flat 1d6 minus 1 increase. Cool. Now, there is one problem. You cannot train a skill that is over 75. You need hands-on experience to do that. Once you get past a certain point, the books and the trainers, they only help so much. So this is actually a great opportunity for you to sort of dive in and pick up a skill that you kind of aren't so good at and you want to just boost a little bit. Normally training costs a bit, but since you helped out these people, they're very keen to help you.
I have a non-standard pitch.
Yes.
I teach Stormdog, but Stormdog also teaches me. I've looked in the Chlorantha Bestiary, and dogs have track by scent as a skill. Can I start learning to
Absolutely.
Track things using my nose.
That is
Storm Dog.
awesome. That is so, I really like that. I'll tell you what. Why don't you take a train to your track skill, so you can add 1d6 minus 1 to that. And we will also assume that your tracking method is literally to be hound-like. So in circumstances in which tracking by scent would be useful, we'll give you like a +20 to the roll or something like that.
That's great.
Brilliant. What about the rest of you? Any thoughts, Vasana? Does ride bison appeal? No, your ride bison is 70, so technically you could still do with a little bit of training from somebody before it becomes useless to you to train, unless you increased your ride bison when you ticked it. But I think that we can go through that later. You can take the training now and reflectively do that if you'd like.
I'm actually interested in learning some sort of magic from Orlan's worshiper, if that's possible.
Fantastic. So you have access to some basic amounts of magic, and to go and learn additional ones, you need to do things like sacrifice power for additional rune points. That is totally possible, but it is a higher level of complexity than I would like to introduce while we're introducing all of this this background stuff. So what we might do is you and I can work that out off camera, and then we can bring that in, and then when we can always backdate and explain how those mechanics work.
Cool.
If you want to help with that, though, worship all lands. Take the worship all land skill from a trainer, so you can boost that by 1d6 minus 1. Brilliant. So bump your worship all land by 1d6 minus 1. Meanwhile, we still have Varakos and Yanioth who may undertake some training.
Yeah, so I'm oh, go ahead, Varakos, go ahead.
Oh no, sorry. I was my beard disappeared.
Disaster.
I was trying to think of what would be useful of a skill, or what kind of. So it's just things that I already have. I could possibly boost.
No, you can boost anything. You can start training in a new skill. You just need to be able to have access to a teacher to do it. Your best teacher will be Bison Bane or the Milani tribe specifically, unless you can think of somebody else who you might approach and try and speak to them and try and find a teacher there.
Can we train each other?
Yeah, I don't see why you couldn't. That would be completely fine.
I would like to boost my my cult lore.
Absolutely. That they can organize that. You're living in the house of a sword priest. Boost your cult lore by 1d6 minus 1. That's totally fine.
That's cool. Perfect. All right.
And Yanioth, last but not least.
Yeah, so I've been trying to unpack Yanioth's experience during her downtime, and I'm gonna merge everything together. And I almost called you keeper. Sorry, GM. I'm just gonna kind of need your help on this.
That is totally cool. I will help you out.
So I have in my head that she's moving from tavern to tavern to tavern, but for whatever reason, she does feel some type of kinship to pronounce the town for me again. Miria's Landing.
Menria's Landing.
Menria's Landing. So I feel like she would love to pop out there at least once a week, stay a couple of days, hang out with the locals. They maybe see what was going on with that temple of Ronaldo underground.
Yeah.
She feels some kinship there. And I tied that immediately into, well, yeah, it would make sense as a gift. They would give her the farm baskets, fruits and things because she's there. And I was like, you know what, while she's there, like putzing around in the dirt and chewing on it and seeing if her worship there is changing the texture of the soil, maybe she can get some training in farm.
That sounds perfect. I love that. I really like that. In fact, you would be told that you're welcome to come and like stay. You basically have indefinite stay in Menria's Landing if you'd like. It's a little out of the way, but yeah, you could totally make repeated trips there. So increase your farm skill by 1d6 minus 1.
Okay.
And just because you're asking about the temple specifically, it used to be a temple of Ernalda. It has been Oh no! You don't take to farming.
They give her the pity gifts of like you screwed over your crops, but here's some apples and some oranges and some cabbage. You'll get there, babe. Don't worry.
Next season.
That's fantastic.
Better luck next season.
Yeah. You will find out that the temple there that was in the basement, in case you're curious, it was previously an Ronaldo temple, and then when the town kind of got abandoned, it got forgotten about, and then it was retaken over by devotees of Eularia, who is basically the goddess of love. So that's everyone's training. that's everyone's details. Vasana, you and I will go through learning some additional magic, and we all can also reconcile some of your skills and everything like that off camera. But there is one last thing that is going to happen to everybody in Downtime, and that is that Downtime is not kind of a static instant. Stuff happens. Things happen to you, and you get caught up in all kinds of little mini adventures. So here's an exciting thing that happens to all of you during Downtime. Vasana, you are contacted by trolls. Specifically, the dark trolls who have sort of been wandering the countryside are spotted every now and again getting quite close to Johnstown. And they don't necessarily want to come back into the city, but they will sort of have a lot of contact with the farmers around the outskirts and things like that. And eventually, they start delivering back messages that they're looking for you specifically, and they have some fantastic descriptions. There's like the flame-haired woman and things like that. But eventually, people manage to track you down, and the trolls clearly want to speak to you. Will you answer their summons?
Absolutely.
All right, brilliant. You travel out of the town one day and you'll be able to track down the trolls who have taken up residence across the other side of the river, since it's pretty easy for them to cross, in a sort of a small system of caves. They will also introduce you to the largest of them. You met the others and they're relatively respectful. When they see you, they nod and lumber into this cave where you can see one that is like much bigger standing about, and she introduces herself as Hungry. That is her name, and she is the leader of this pack of trolls. They explain that they're kind of lost. They don't know how to get home. They came a long way here, all the way to fight in this very important battle, which is why they were so pissed off, and they're not quite sure how to get back. They reckon they can probably figure it out, but they don't want to come back empty-handed. They kind of want a job, and they're wondering if you have any, resume advice. No, in all seriousness, no. They're wondering if you have any work for them, anything you can point them to do. You have quite a bit of money that you've won. They take cash.
Yeah. How good are you scouting things for me?
We can find things. Daytime harder, but we can find things. Yeah. Find things. If you want us to kill the found things, even easier.
Oh, really? Intriguing. Okay, and then out of curiosity, how good are you at protection?
Yeah, bodyguards. We can do bodyguards. Hungry has better trade talk than the other ones.
Yes. Okay, so I'm thinking a kind of a 2-for-1 situation here. I would love to gather insight onto the Lunar Empire and where they're located. Is that something that perhaps you and your compatriots?
Yes.
Family, friends?
Family, friends.
Your group,
everything.
yes. If you could find out their location and perhaps maybe take some out on your own, I would happily pay you. For some of that effort,
they will readily accept, and they start basically saying, "We can." They're pretty enthusiastic. Their first idea is, "We bring back heads," and then you kind of have to talk them down. There's probably an easier way to do this. You don't have to bring back the heads. There's a little bit of a concern when they start kind of talking amongst themselves. And you realize that they're trying to figure out how they're going to be able to tell the difference between lunar soldiers and just regular Orlanthis. But you help them out a bit. Do you want to make an orate check? And this is just you in general trying to kind of organize this.
Sure. Nope.
Okay. So you're not getting a special deal or anything, but they will work at a standard fare for you. Why don't we assume that you pay 20 L, so the funds that you won from Mago, and as a result, you send these folks out, and they will be able to harass the lunar patrols quite extensively. Yes.
I do have 2 other requests of them.
Perfect, please.
I would like the smallest of 2 small ones, if possible. One that is going to protect the back door from any odd entries that might come about.
They will take bodyguard work, and it's going to become famous that the back door has a troll bouncer now.
You have to explain the double entendre to the trolls because they don't speak trade talk very well. So.
No. And then the other would be actually a bodyguard for the Temple of Orlans. So in case I am not able to help protect, they have another shield.
They inform you later that there was a double entendre in what you said about the Temple of Orlanth in their language, and they find it hilarious, but they're very happy to accept the job. So yeah, you can organize for 2 of them to come and go in Johnstown, and because of the defense that you gave to them in the first session, they're not booted, like banished from Johnstown. And with a bit of nudging, you're able to organize this. The others go off lunar hunting, and these ones will stay. So Johnstown has some troll residents, and with a bit of pay, you're able to organize that. Fantastic. All right, good stuff. Meanwhile, Yanioth, you are contacted at one point when you are in the middle of a party because you are the closest person to the site of an immediate emergency attention is needed. Verena, a local seamstress, is having a baby. And she is delivering rather unexpectedly, and people have been sent to the other side of the town to get the priestesses to come and help. But one person knew that you happened to be next door at the time. So, you're in the middle of partying and someone runs in and says, someone's having a baby and we need you. You're an elder priestess. This is like your thing. And they'll rush you over, assuming you accept, to assist in a delivery.
Yeah, I can imagine that like she's on a table and there's probably like one more piece of garment that she has to pull off before she's completely nude before they start rushing in about the baby nonsense. And she's like, oh, we'll have to finish this later, but a round on the house on me. Congratulations to Verena and her baby. And, she will honor let's buy a round in celebration of Verena's baby. She'll pick up whatever clothes she can off the floor and she will head that direction.
Okay, fantastic. So you will be able to rush over and you'll be able to help. Now, you are an experienced priestess of Analda. You will be able to, assist in the delivery and make sure that everything goes well. But with a skill check, you might be able to make it, particularly, painless and particularly wonderful. So why don't you make Jen, you could go for sort of like a medical perspective here and kind of make I think a first aid check would be entirely appropriate. Otherwise, you could genuinely go for like a dance or a sing check here. Make this part of a religious ritual. Analda is the goddess of fertility, and this would be a holy moment and a holy experience in which, Analda priestesses would be, perfectly comfortable assisting.
Yeah, she loves kids. She loves babies. She still wants to, adopt the new little guard. So we're definitely going to lean on seeing. Can she, as she's like moving in quickly, run her fingers through the ground, taste the soil, augment with earth to see what she thinks this pregnancy is going to go like or this delivery is going to go with before she even walks in the door?
Absolutely. I think, why don't you make an earth rune? Why don't you augment this check with your earth rune, and you tasting the ground is what you are doing there. Yep. All
right. She made that regular success.
Okay, fantastic. So you can add plus 20 to your sing skill here, which will bring it from 70 to 90 as you position in and begin a chant.
Yeah, beautiful. She'll start going through the holy chants, the words to Analda. She will reaffirm through song and just a musical, whimsical voice. And she's tipsy right now as well. But, it's all fine. This is what she does. That the soil outside of the home tasted sweet. So she has, great blessings to bestow upon the child. She'll get, if this is Verena's first child, her last child, whatever. It's a very intimate experience. And she hit a 37 under that 90.
Nice. Fantastic. That is great. It is a success, and this is totally your area of expertise as a priestess of Analda. The delivery is expertly managed. It's a very intimate experience. And in the after a couple of hours, when everything is dealt with and calmed, you will find yourself with 2 new friends. You will also be given the position of a spiritual guide if you would like towards the newborn child. And as a player, would you like to name it?
Oh, I would love to name it. What's the gender on the baby?
Up to you.
Sorry, I'm taking notes here. So spiritual guide, this is Verena. I tell you what, I gave Sin the ability to name Rocco. I'm going to go pick on London. London, give me a name for the child. I'm just going to keep going through players and have them name things that I'm supposed to be naming.
I want to go lore friendly.
As long as it sounds fantasy, you're probably fine.
Okay, all right. The name shall be Alan.
Alan,
Alan.
excellent. Of course, it's spelt with the fantasy way, so it's like
Oh,
A
yeah.
L L
There's a couple
A I
of dots
N.
over.
AIN,
there's
there's a couple
there's a tremor
dots and
above the I,
apostrophes.
yeah.
18
Perfect.
syllable. Yeah, Alan.
Excellent, but it's pronounced
wait.
Alan.
You said this was a spiritual guide. I didn't get like a child surprise with delivering this child or something, right?
No,
Like,
no,
this is
no,
it.
no.
You're able to.
This is just like,
luck.
oh, you know, do you want to, you'll like, it's kind of the idea that the child can come to you if they decide to become a priestess of the Nala.
Oh no, that is perfect with little Alan. The one thing I will say, the second after she delivers this child, the mother is cleaned up, they're both well. She's probably going to go through the rest of the booze in this woman's house. She'll probably sleep a couple days on this woman's floor, like with the baby. She'll help out with like
lovely.
the baby and all that fun stuff. But that night, it's like, let me just drunk pass out on this woman's floor.
An excellent idea. All right, fantastic. We will now jump across to Mago. Mago, you're kind of a warrior. This isn't like totally your scene, the civilized life.
No.
You keep on wanting something to happen.
Yeah.
And fortunately, at one point, something absolutely does. In the midst of your journey home one day, it's the dead of night, you spot a red glow over the horizon and you smell smoke. There is a fire in Johnstown. Fire is incredibly serious. It is incredibly dangerous. All the buildings here can go up in a flash, so people are panicking and they need a strong warrior to leap in and try and help.
Everyone move aside. I've got this. I push everyone to the side. I run out and I fire around. It's like a house or it's like a temple.
You tear around the corner and you will eventually come forward to what would have been a large family house. This would have housed many people, and they have all darted out as far as you are aware. But you can see two people, and you will later learn that they are Farana and Yalos. Who are two of the residents there, and they're pointing up towards the higher windows. Yalos's brother is inside, and she didn't see him leave.
Okay. I'll tell someone to fetch the city guards, and then I'll throw myself selflessly forward into the smoke, but not before telling them that I, Mago the Fierce, will rescue this person, just so I make sure. In case I die, my name lives on.
Excellent.
I'll try and just scale the outside of the building.
Perfect. That is a climb check. This guy's name is, the brother's name is Senric, in case you are interested. You throw yourself, you start to scale the outside rather than brave the flames.
Fear
and
not,
you will,
Senric. A hero approaches. I have 55 in the skill. I rolled a 19. That's a success.
That is a success.
there.
Okay. Perfect. You throw yourself over, you slide through, you were able to search through the flames, and you only need a single success, that's fine. You'll be able to sling the body of Senric, who is still relatively young, probably about 14 or something, so he's not too heavy, over your shoulder and scale back down the outside, at which point you were seized and embraced. Senric is coughing and is unresponsive, is unconscious, but the rest will thank you, and the guards will arrive, and he will be ushered off towards the Chalana Roy Temple. And it's just as well this happened because you had just about overstayed your welcome at every single tavern in the city, and this extends you for like another couple of days at each one.
Any chance, you know how Yanioth kind of got promised like a kid that could join their cult? Any chance this 14-year-old's got Stormball leaning?
I love it. Why don't you make for me a worship Stormball check? Let's just say like maybe you yell out something as you go.
Yeah, awesome. So my worship Stormball is 30.
35 if you have
I have the
token
trinket
on
with
you.
and I actually realized on my character sheet I already have another trinket that adds 10% to Stormball. So I stand there looking at one really nicely made trinket, one wooden one that I was recently given, and I see if they push me towards.
I'll tell you what, before you roll, before you roll, you can hand one over to get a guaranteed success. You can press it into this child's hand.
I'd like to, but I feel like this kid hasn't actually proven any sort of Stormball leaning yet. I don't want to just the Stormball. You gotta be willing to fight chaos no matter where it lies. I don't want to force this upon the child. I'll just make a flat roll. That is a success. Success, yeah.
Okay.
Almost exactly on the nose.
Fantastic. Yeah. So you feel a kindling, and as the child is taken away, there's a rumble overhead of thunder. Perhaps as something passes by in the air, and you can see down.
As the kid gets taken away, I don't really say anything to the parents. I just looked out at the dog and I go, "Storm child."
Okay. Varakos. jumping across to you, you are going to get dragged into Milani tribal politics.
Fuck.
You saw it coming. You knew it was going to happen. I'll keep it simple, but for Varakos, it is several days of, first of all, people being like, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And then you getting pulled into like meetings, and then you being trotted around as like, look, we have one of the adventurers on our side. You have to listen to us. Menrir's Landing is disputed territory. Many different tribes have claims on it, and the Milani are very keen to be like, we defended it. We organized for adventurers to defend it. And look, this wonderful adventurer who isn't even from our tribe is going to say it's ours. Isn't that right, Varakos?
I'm just staying here. I have no quarrel in this fight.
You start trying to push back a little bit, and eventually after one of the meetings, Bison Bane will come towards you and will say, listen, I understand. I know you don't want to get involved. Who does? But this is important, and it's important to Prince Sarastip. I can't offer you things. I know you, Hamakti. I know what you're like. But Sarastip, he's a sword lord. He sees the god for who he is. And I know that if you agree to support our claim, he will impart to you secrets of Humakt. There is a place for political leanings, even if the Humakti don't want to admit it.
Is he? Can I insight him?
You would know that this is the truth. You would by reputation through the cult know. What this is sort of though, it's not right and proper. It's, it is kind of, you're getting offered the chance to sort of jump through a couple of, like Humak's. These secrets should be earned. They shouldn't be told. They can be told, and it's not like you'll get like imprisoned if someone finds out you're getting told. It's just a little. You're only depriving yourself. Would be the idea here. Yeah.
That's the name of Varakos' memoir. He's only depriving himself.
Yep.
I think he would forego that. He has such a high passion in honor that this is something that he would forego completely, and he would state, as you mentioned, that these things must be earned and not told. He just, says, forget the pleasure, forget the pain. We're going to work for whatever it is and just take what comes with it. So that's
fantastic. I really like that. That's absolutely great. So you turn it back. The rest of your stay at the Milani tribe is a little colder, not hostile, but they've just realized maybe they can't bend you to their will and have less use for you. But it's probably exactly what you want. You serve a higher calling, not any single tribal lord. In the storm season, when it comes, specifically in storm, it's some good stuff there. Specifically in Disorder Week. The collection of you are going to meet once again at Nala's stall in the North Market. This is the woman who met and fed you, where the stall that you all met at in the first session. And you haven't spoken to each other for a while, so you decide to meet there. You share some stories, you catch up. There have been no real disasters, except Mago's very fond of telling everybody how he dealt with the fire. And it is at that point that Yanioth, perhaps, or in fact, why don't everybody except Mago make a scan check very quickly?
That's a no on Yanioth.
Vasana.
Oh, God.
Excellent. It's Vasana then. You as Mago is telling the story. Oh, you. Oh, damn, that's a shame. It was in which it's okay. It's a flavor point. But Vasana, you actually. That's funny that Mago saw a fire, because fires are rare and dangerous, and it just so happens that you saw a fire not too long ago. It was put out, but it was a couple of weeks back, and that's strange. These things shouldn't happen. And as you are all thinking that, you will start to hear in the distance the sounds of shouting, and all of you catch the unmistakable sound of smoke as a new fire spreads, the third in several weeks. Something is wrong in Johnstown, and it is causing things to burn down. But that will be next week's.
As an
adventure.
arsonist?
Oh,
Oh my
man.
Goodness.
So that's the end of the session. Thank you so much, everybody, and thank you for a great kind of look at the downtime and the ongoing development of characters in games of RuneQuest. Thanks once again to this amazing cast. Let's go through. Where can we find you, London?
Hi, find me on Twitter at London Carlisle. That's me. You can find me there posting about TTRPG things. You can also find me on Ain't Slayed Nobody with Bridget, the Call of Cthulhu Down Darker Trails podcast. That starts, for the public on March 1st. So check us out.
Yeah.
Amazing. Fantastic. Where can we find you, Cynthia?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Syndancer or Instagram Cynthia__Marie. That might change soon, but I'll let you all know when that happens. You can find me on a couple different shows. Aliens TTRPG on the Initiative order. That's coming like every other week or something like that. I'm also on Gods of Color. That's on the, I don't know, it's either Kira channel or the Cook-Off. I can't remember exactly. Like there's 2 different channels that it airs on. I'm also, I just kind of figured this out, might be showing up on Hunter's Entertainment. If you guys are watching Outbreak Undead, I have a reoccurring character and they're kind of going into their last season or their season finale. So I might be popping up. Just check that out. Otherwise, I'm going to be going dark pretty much all of March to be shooting something I can't necessarily talk about yet, but very excited about it. Yeah, so just follow me on the socials and you'll find out where I pop up next.
Super exciting. Thank you so much, Cynthia. Where can we find you, Bridget?
Yes, if you want to connect with me, head over to symphonyentertainment.com. If you hit press release, you can see everything from the awesome production that Cuppy Cup is putting together with Ain't Slayed Nobody with London. You can catch me on the Miskatonic University podcast, where I'm a co-host. We talk about all things that are weird and horrific role-playing games. And then if you're coming to Chaosium Con in April, Chaosium Con plug, that'll be April 8th through 9th in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Hopefully we'll see you there. And finally, if you have any questions in regards to community content or publishing your community content on the Miskatonic repository, feel free to email me at Bridget. That is Bridget that you walk across, 2 T's at chaosium.com.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Bridget. Where can we find you, Dave?
Yep, I'm online at Good Chip Fun Trip, and I stream each week running Call of Cthulhu on the Stream of Chaos.
That's it. That's the show. Thank you, everybody. Remember to check out our Call of Cthulhu games on the Stream of Chaos, as well as all of the exciting things that our cast is doing. Thanks very much. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you next time.